Aloha, everybody. I hope you all had a great 4th of July weekend. The stock market came back to a no vote from Greece and promptly sold off early on. However, we were rallying in the futures markets following the initial sell off whenever futures first opened in the morning. God, living in Hawaii, you just might as well. It's the evening, afternoon, morning, whatever I use is going to probably be completely different than what you guys are used to, so whatever. But anyway, so futures open. They were down pretty big, over 1.5%. They rallied overnight and into the opening bell. Stocks even rallied from where it opened. So overall, excellent move off the lows. However, intraday, we had a pretty good rally going. We even turned green on the NASDAQ and Russell 2000 before fading off the highs. It was still a pretty okay day. We finished off the lows. Volume was higher than the session before, but, it was a light trading schedule ahead of the weekend, so we're still kind of in no man's land. You can't really take heads or tails from today's action. So the NASDAQ, it's holding support for now. The key level here, 629, breaks below that, it could get ugly. So that's kind of like the line in the sand right now. But overall, I remain very neutral on this index. The S&P 500, similar situation. We need to hold the, is that the new lows there? Yeah, we need to hold the 630 lows. Let me go and bring up the oscillators so we can see how they look. And nothing too good. So there's no indication that a bounce should happen. Yeah, we're moving down. Stochastics is the one oscillator that I focus on the most. That's this one currently right here in the bottom window. See on the Russell 2000 even, it's still, just straight shot down. So there's really no area that says, oh yeah, we have to hold here. And we close at 1246, which is right at basically where the low of the day was and the close was on 629. So we're right at those levels. So we want to hold. Wow, I got that totally backwards. I was looking at the SP 500. But we need to hold these levels right here, and we're barely doing it. But right now, the key line in the sand, those recent lows. Gosh, I tell you what, I'm just kind of spinning my wheels here looking at these indexes. Just want to make sure my analysis is correct. But right now, with the lower volume, it really is just kind of a biding our time situation here in the market. I really don't know what else to say except for you should be very neutral here. And this year, as you can see, especially looking at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, we've done a whole lot of nothing. Meanwhile, though, our longs continue to do well, but unfortunately today, thanks to the sell-off, I got shaken out of some stocks. MNST, I got shaken out intraday whenever it violated this low a day back here. But by the end of the day, it looks fine. So I'm going to have to do a buy stop slightly above this price. So I'll be setting buy stops at 136.78. If it hits, it hits. And then while we're going over stocks that failed for me but are not sells by the end of the day, TTMI closed below these recent lows, so I'm all out. I'm going to probably regret it. Should have kept to use here, but with the recent pullback in this stock, it's really lost its luster, and I've lost interest in it. And then Zyop got shaken out of all of it today. Had half my sell stops below 11.12 and the other half below 11, and it opened up today and ripped through them both. So Zyop I'm completely out of, but on an end-of-day basis, Zyop, like TTMI and MNST, is fine. Also, RDN gave me a 50% sell signal, closing below the 50-day move or the 20-day moving average on above average volume. Unfortunately, my final sell stop was below 1843, so I've been ripped out of RDN. I am completely out. And NMIH, I moved up my final sell stop from these lows, 790 this weekend, to 795. Whoopsie daisy, I was hit and I was knocked out of NMIH. However, it's lost its Max Green Bop catalyst, so I'm really not too upset about that. We'll see if it comes back. And then GIMO, unfortunately, it went below 32.08 intraday, hitting 31.88. So I got taken out of half of my GIMO, but the rest is going to be held, and my next sell stop level is all the way back here to the low a day. So 26.60. So it's going to have to fall a lot before it even triggers another sell stop. And now whatever I have left, I'll split up into a half, later on. If we do bounce and break out to a new high, half will go here and half will probably move up to here. So GIMO 50%. And then Bona was a full sell by the end of the day, but I was taken out and knocked out of all of it back here on the 26th. But now it is an ultimate end-of-day failure. And this stock is actually one of the rare instances of why sell stops are important, because had you waited till the end of the day today, you'd be down 16% on the position instead of, I think what we risked was 8% total. But going back over, look at all the stocks that we've sold off or that I've sold off or had my sell stops hit that are holding up so far. ATRC, 50% end of day, 100% by me, still holding up. Zyop, I just showed you, knocked me out, still holding up. Look at OGS come back. Remember we were long that stock at the end of May. That's come back. Look at WSBF. It's come back after shaking us out of our long position. Look at COR come back after shaking us out of our long position. HMST is trying to come back after shaking us out of its long position. And then I actually need to add back INTL because it's retaking its 50-day moving average while still having strong green bop. Volume isn't huge, and the chart doesn't look better than whenever I got knocked out of half my position. So I'm only adding back half of what I got knocked out of. So I think what I had total was, oh, God. I think I have 160 shares, got knocked out of 80 of them. So instead of putting 80 back on, I'm putting on 40 shares. So 40 shares of INTL will be going back on. And then on that note, EGRX is an add back, but EGRX's chart looks better. BOP is going up, and volume is well above average than what it looked on the day when I got knocked out. Like I said, the first sell stop became a move below 74.74. It unfortunately did that intraday on the 2nd, on Thursday, so I got knocked out of it, but I got to put it back on. But EGRX's chart looks better than when I got knocked out of it, so this will be the full position. Thanks to already being fully invested, EGRX is only I only have 40 shares of it, got knocked out of 20 shares on the 2nd, and now I'm going to put back those 20 shares today. If the chart didn't look as good, it would just be 10 shares, kind of like INTL is only going to be 40 shares. And then on top of that, I actually have a new long signal today. BMRN is giving a long signal by breaking out to new highs. This is a perfect speculator scan quality stock. There's only 52 stocks out of 10,000 that qualify for the scan. This is one of them. It's breaking out to new highs on a surge in volume and BOP. Good enough for me, even though it's not a pocket pivot point signal. And it was confirmed in my high price stock scan, stocks over 100 that have like over, I think it's 500,000 average volume per day. So it made that one, and was in my new 52-week high scan on at least average volume. So it was confirmed in 2 scans, perfect speculator. Big sales growth, not earnings growth. It's probably a buyout candidate because there's a lot of buyout targets in the biotech space right now. So 2% long position because we've reduced long positions. MID was the first one to only get 2%. It's worked, but BMRN is also going to be 2%. And then I do have an long signal in the hedge. Earlier in the day when it was more near its highs around 40.90, it was looking like a full hedge position, which right now is 5% for whatever we get a signal on. However, by the end of the day, it pulled back and actually closed slightly below where it's opening. Where it opened, excuse me, but it's still closing in the upper or middle portion of the overall trading range. And if you can look at a longer term chart, you can see that it slowly looks like it's trying to round out and move higher. So with the market looking mixed here and me having no hedges and still being very long, right around 80% long, 20% cash, I'm going to go ahead and start a hedge here because if we're wrong on TECS, we don't risk much initially. You can have half your sell stops either below 39.44 or 39.07. I'll be using 39.07. And the final one below the low day of the last pocket pivot point signal. So 37.58 is where my final sell stop would go. So 37.58, 39.07 on Tech S. For BMRN, I recommend having half your sell stop below 135.09 and or at least having all of it at 131.57. That should be your final sell stop level.